context is when it comes to matters of age. I'll not be able to speak about that. But we're talking about children. One would ask, why are we talking about children and why are we even, emphasizing them? Because many of us, mostly parents, think that we always have to decide for the child. They don't have rights. They don't have a right to speak out. They don't have needs. We just have to keep on thinking about them. But that is not the reality. When you talk about COVID-19 and its context, by this November, we will be making 20 months when the Ugandan government, of course, to be able to curb the spread of COVID-19, decided to lock down the schools. Over 15 million children have actually been affected with this lockdown. And when we talk about the effects, the aspects of rights of children that have been trampled upon, and we get to ask ourselves, are we listening to these children? Are we trying to understand what they are saying? They may be speaking the children's language, like we love to say, but they have concerns that they are raising to us. And it's second year running. Right now, we ask the children in the past tense, which class were you when lockdown came? It's no longer which class are you for the children. And many of them, it's psychologically traumatizing them. Because many of them are saying, I should have been in P7, I should have been in top class, I should have been in this particular class. That is trauma. That aside from all the cases of child marriages that we've heard, all the cases of early pregnancies and teenage pregnancies, well, the president did say it's better, yeah, the pregnant mother can be able to go back to school, but there is more than meets the eye. And I love the fact that today, in the evening, the president will be speaking to the nation about security, about COVID-19, and I am pretty sure, since we have government representatives today, the views, the expressions of the children here, I am pretty sure will get to the president, and he will be making decisions based on what the children themselves are saying. And UNICEF came up with a beautiful thing. Well, while the government was saying study online, Zoom classes and all that, not all the children could definitely be able to do that, but UNICEF came up with a creativity contest. And they asked the children to write about the experiences using photography, using videography, in just illustration, and also writing. These stories are beautiful. Some of them are heartbreaking. That is the reality. Some of them you feel like, is that really happening in Uganda? Is that really happening? But it is actually the reality, and we need to listen to them. So today, I am not going to be alone. I want to welcome you once again to this creativity contest, where we're going to be knowing who are our winners in the different categories. My name is Mildred Tohaise, and I am glad to be your host, but I'm not going to be alone. I am going to have another co-host right here with me, and I can't wait to introduce her to you. But we will be streaming this live, of course, on NBS television right here. We are streaming live on NTV, and we will also be on Bukedde television. So get to our social media handles at NTV Uganda, at NBS TV, at Bukedde TV as well, and talk to us. Tell us about what you think about what the children say. And without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce to you my co-host this morning, and I am excited to be working with her. Nelly Apili. Before she comes up, Nelly is a girls and young women advocate under the She Leads project, which aims at amplifying the voices of girls and young women as well in Uganda through their meaningful inclusion and participation in decision-making spaces at all levels. I love inclusion and participation because, like I said at the beginning, we always think these kids are young, they're just watching TV and playing games, that they don't have anything to put to the table. So ladies and gentlemen, those who are at the next conference center, a round of applause as we welcome my co-host, Nelly Apili. Nelly, please make it to the stage as we get through. Beautiful. I keep asking Nelly, which class were you in the past tense? And she keeps saying, that hurts me the most. But let's welcome Nelly right here with me. We'll be talking to Nelly. Nelly, you can take your microphone as we get to take on the program, please. You can switch on your microphone. I will sanitize and make sure that I am helping you when I am well sanitized. We'll have this. Okay. Nelly, good morning to you. You can use your microphone. I always ask in the past tense, as always. I hope this is a very good distance that Nelly can be able to take off her mask. Which class were you before lockdown? And why is this day actually important for you?
A very good morning. Thank you for coming. Thank you for giving me this great opportunity to be an MC. It's not like very easy, but thank you. I was.
Yes, past tense.
I was in senior 2, and I'm still in senior 2 because of the lockdown, the COVID-19 pandemic. And if you ask me what this day means to me, it's a day that we as children, girls and boys, teenage mothers, come up and celebrate our rights. We say what we feel has gone wrong because we have different rights. And some of them, though they're there, but they're violated. We have the Children Acts 2012. For those who know law, that right is mostly violated. And the COVID-19 pandemic has brought a lot of trauma in us that psychologically, physically, mentally, we are disturbed.
Let's talk about some of those impacts, because when we look at our theme, the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on the children in Uganda, someone thinks you're just a child. How has this impacted you? They're thinking about the adults who have lost their jobs and, you know, stuff that is happening. For the children, in your view and what you've seen in your community, what would you assess the impact of COVID-19 on the children as?
For the impact of COVID-19, I would not say a lot, because from what I've seen in my community, in schools, there's high rate of teenage pregnancy in girls, and a lot of children they've started using drugs more, dealing in drugs, which is not like a good thing to us children. And the lawmakers, let me say that the lawmakers, they violate our rights. For example, I'm giving an example of a girl with a disability, a boy with a disability, who is violated outside. Then you'll be like, how will this young boy, this young girl go and say, like, I've been violated, I've been raped?
How do they report?
How do they report? In a way that in our communities, in the community health centers, there are no sign language interpreters.
I'm glad that today we have a sign language interpreter with us, so at least that message can be taken.
Yes, there are no sign language interpreters, and the language that they use to us is not friendly. Though they say that they've learned the children's language, how to speak to them, but it is not yet there.
It's a lie. They're not speaking your language. Sylvia Nachigozi actually will be on our sign language, and we want to thank UNICEF so much for paying attention to the fact that the people with disabilities as well, persons living with disabilities, need to be paid attention to. So to just kickstart our day today, allow me invite Madame Alexandra Westerbeek, who is the Chief Communication, Advocacy and Partnerships at UNICEF, just to be able to give us the background and relevance of this creativity contest. Why was it? Why did it come through? And Madame Alexandra, there is a sanitizer, so feel free to make sure that you're safe. We're trying to follow all the SOPs and make sure that your mic and your surface is as well sanitized. Sorry about that. Okay. The mic is adjustable, so feel free to adjust it to your comfort zone.
Good morning, Honorable Sarah Mateka, Minister of State and Youth and Children's Affairs. A warm welcome this morning. Government officials, UNICEF representative Mr. Munir Salfidin, partners and colleagues, including our media, invited guests, and last but not least, dear children and youth who are present here today, but also the youth joining us online. A warm welcome. We all have dreams, and actually we're never too old to set another goal or to dream another dream. As adults and children alike, we keep on dreaming. You know, doing great at school, getting into that prestigious university, maybe get a better job, better pay, or meet that really special person you want to meet. But it's not easy to keep up your hopes, especially now during this time of COVID. And the COVID crisis has really resulted in a children's crisis. And as the impact of the pandemic lingers on, and threatens to spread for maybe another year, the most important question would be, is anyone listening to the children and how the pandemic is affecting them? Are we? What do you think? Are we listening to you? And for that reason, this year in Uganda, World Children's Day is commemorated through a nationwide contest to give the children and young people from age 20 and below a platform to share their experiences, but also their fears, their hopes, and their dreams. So this could be, and like we see here in the room as well, this could be a drawing, it could be a poem, photography, but also video productions were made for this competition. And for this competition, what was really for all children in Uganda, and that includes also the numerous refugee children that we host in Uganda, we really support meaningful child participation on the day for children, by children. And we want to hear their voices, we want to hear your voices, and give you a platform to speak out. We worked with partners, many of you are here present today, and also with the local government to ensure that the furthest and most disadvantaged community has been reached. Like many of you, you're away from access to connectivity. And the results speak for themselves. We have received over 300 entries from across the country. And the competition has winners. And we had to make tough decisions to come up with the final list of 12. And those final 12 are here today. And however, I want to point out that all children who participated are winners. Those here who are with us, but also those watching from online, and those who have maybe not been able to participate in this competition. But we want to congratulate all of you. Now, in some instances, the competition was used as a cry out for help. And we, as UNICEF and as partners, we really have a responsibility to reach out to you and support. And while as UNICEF, we continue to advocate for the safe reopening of schools and for children's safety, since you're also staying home for this moment in time, we also want to obtain your suggestions on what stakeholders like government and partners, but also your parents, what the people in your community can do to handle crises like these better for in future. And we wanted to encourage you, the children, and we tell them, whenever we can, we tell you the only thing that stops you from fulfilling your dreams is you. But we also know that when schools are closed and when children are facing multiple threats, options become limited. Many children who participated shared their fears for a better future. And because they're not in school, some of you became involved in child labor, facing violence, abuse. We also see a lot of increase of teenage pregnancy. Maybe not necessarily the children who are here today, but many of your siblings and friends do. And through the competition, we also want to inspire hope and optimism, because every dream begins with a dreamer. And we want to encourage the children to tell them that within them they have the strength, they have the patience and the passion to reach for the stars to change their world. And as Eleanor Roosevelt quoted, "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams." And while they dream and try to manage in the best way possible, we as adults, we really have a joint responsibility to support and to help them and accompany them on their journey to realize their goals. And this is our individual, but also our professional duty. Ladies and gentlemen, dear children, there's some of us who live in a dream world. There's others who face reality. And then there are those who turn one into the other. I wish you a wonderful day, and we're all excited about the outcome of this competition. Thank you so much.
A round of applause for Alexandra Westerbeek, who is the Chief Communication, Advocacy and Partnerships from UNICEF. Nelly, she asked one question that we all need to answer. I don't know if you could have an answer immediately. Are we listening to the children? Do you think we are, and when I say we, I'm talking about the adults, I'm talking about all the other people, the legislators, and all our leaders?
I might say yes. And a point.
Or you want to say yes and no?
Yes.
Okay.
It's both in one. Because if I'm to say yes, I would be lying to myself. we also as children, we have a role to play. And the challenge comes that few of the children are sensitized. Like, they tell them what we are supposed to do. And the rest of it, they make decisions for us. Okay. The leaders make decisions for us. In a way that if there's, let me say, a council meeting concerning children's rights, concerning the children, you'll find like in that meeting, there'll be only 2 children who will be participating.
And they're just listening.
And the rest are adults. So they're making the rule, they make you follow their rules instead of listening to you and telling you, give your opinion. What do you think? What went wrong? Okay. How are we going to improve in this part? So I might say yes, and at the same time, no.
Say no. And I love the fact that our Honorable Minister, Honorable Sarah Mateke Nyirabashishi, who is the Minister of State for Children, Youth and Children Affairs, is here, and she's listening very keenly. Sometimes we don't need to speak upon the children, but we need to listen to them before we take those decisions. So Madam Alexandra did tell us that there were a number of categories that these children participated in, and we now want to find out. I personally cannot wait to find out who are these winners. 300 entries, those were many, and I believe it that the judges had a hard time having to decide who exactly should be the runner-up, who should be the winner, but we have the winners. And let's start off with, you told me you love writing.
I love writing.
You should have participated, but terms and conditions applied in this one. Don't worry, although you were still eligible. So let's start off with our winners and start to find out who is the second runner-up in the writing category. And we would also like to hear from these children, why did they choose writing and not any other? So Nelly, tell us who is the second runner-up.
I'm very, very, very happy for those who participated in writing. And our second runner-up in writing is Pal Nsimire. Pal Nsimire, you're most welcome.
A round of applause for Pal. Pal is going to be letting us know why writing and not anything else. That was a smaller one. Pal is coming to tell us why she chose writing. Pal, there is a sanitizer for you there. Feel free to sanitize and then also sanitize your surface because we need to make sure that you are very safe. What do you like most about writing? Why writing and not reading or something else?
Writing, because writing is more easier.
For you?
Not for me only.
Okay, for some people.
Not for some, but it's the easiest way of expressing yourself.
Let's find out from Pal if writing is the easiest way to express. Pal, let us know, why in the contest did you choose to write and not maybe to draw or take pictures or record videos? Tell us your short story, Pal.
Okay. Protocol observed. A good morning to you all. My name is Nsimira Pal. I'm 14 years old. I'm in Form 1 at Mary Hill High School, and I come from Fort Portal. So my COVID-19 experience is what motivated me to write my story. Because the very first time schools were closed, I asked my mom to get me a phone, which I used to do very many different things, such as using the internet to learn how to write stories and essays. So that helped me build up a skill that motivated me to participate specifically in the writing category of the World Children's Day Creativity Contest. So my experience, the very first time we came back from school, I learned writing, and that motivated me. So at this time, what I do to keep myself busy and occupied, I read my books, I revise with my friends, and then I attend online mentorship at MC Inspirations Mentorship Hub, where through our interactions, I drew inspiration to do some charity work. So within our village, there is a young disabled P1 boy that I mentor, and I picked interest in him because he's disabled, and I teach him how to draw, how to write, how to color, and the reason as to why I picked interest in him is that my mission is to make him feel loved and appreciated within society. So that helps him learn and at the same time keeps me occupied within this time. So what my message for the children out there, let us find things to occupy ourselves and not be taken up by negative things. And many of us have got access to phones at a very young age, yeah, because they're the ones who used to study online. So what I want us all to know is that a phone is just like a knife. It can, the knife can be used to cut a piece of cake, but the same knife can be used to stab someone. So what I mean is that it can either be used positively or negatively. But I would like to request us all to find ways of utilizing our phones profitably to add value to ourselves and not destroy us. So to our parents, please continue to mentor us, censor us, guide us, motivate us, and most of all, be there for us, because many of us suffer from depression and hopelessness due to this closure of schools. So we need you to be there for us, to motivate us that this time will come to an end. And then to the students, let us know that every situation comes to an end. I know it's not easy. We have to keep struggling because life is not all about waiting for the storm to end, but learning to dance in the rain. What I mean is that we need to find ways of continuing to add value to ourselves even when schools are closed. So let us not lose hope. Let us continue fighting for our future, stick to our goals, and not do any negative decisions just because of this temporary situation.
Thank you very much, Paul. A round of applause. Thank you, Paul. Beautiful. I have nothing to say, Nelly.
She spoke in parables.
But you understood, Nelly, right?
I understood because I'm a child. I know a language.
Okay. But I will tell you as well, I understood. I told you yesterday I'm also a child. To my parents, I'm a child, yeah.
You're a child.
But you're the
today.
youngest here.
For today, you're a
okay,
child.
for today, I'll be a child.
Yes.
No worries. So, Nelly, let's get to find out. That's Pal Simira. She's our second runner-up in the writing category. Let us find out who is the first runners-up.
And our first runner-up for writing is Marvel Kasanga Joe. Marvel, you're very welcome.
A round of applause for Marvel Kasanga Joe to let us in. Marvel, also feel free to spray and sanitize so we can make sure that you are very, very... you can sanitize your surface as well and your microphone because we'll request you to have your mask off as you're speaking to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Adjust the mic to make sure that you are comfortable too. Thank you.
My name is Kasanganjo Bitondo Merveille. I'm a Congolese refugee living in Uganda, and I'm very glad to be here this morning. What inspired most me to write this story, it is because I went through so much trouble when I was just a child. I saw many people dying. I even lost 2 of my brothers. And before coming here to Uganda, many of my friends were kidnapped. We lost them, and we had no idea where they went until now. And that is why we escaped and came here to Uganda. When we reached here, we found peace, we felt secured, and now we felt safe. But a few years later, the outbreak of COVID-19 brought back so many bad memories in me. It brought back fear, and I was very scared. I thought that I could again lose some of my brothers. But then COVID-19 also impacted my life, my education. I could not go to school, and it increased poverty in my family. We could not afford to buy food, and as refugees, we had no access to sufficient amount of drinking water. And when my young brother Daniel got also infected of COVID-19, it was very hard for us to treat him because we had no medicine and we had no water to give him, and yet we are supposed to drink a lot of water and always wash our hands. That is how COVID-19 impacted my life. But then, throughout all of those troubles, even if my life became harder, but I had a dream of becoming a writer. Before COVID-19, I didn't know English. I learned English in just 1 year because of COVID-19. I could now write, and that is why I was able to write this story. For me, COVID-19 was a time to learn new things, was a time to learn how to survive in my family and to know all the unknown experiences I didn't know before COVID-19. This is why, as a refugee, I would like, this is my prayer, to give us scholarships so that we can improve our skills, because we are poor but we are very powerful. We have something we can change in this world. As a refugee, I would pray the government to create jobs opportunity in our refugees settlements. And this is why I would also pray the government to bring us to give us chances of employment through training programs so that we can take care of our families and our family members. Thank you very much for listening to me. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much, Melville. A big round of applause for Melville. Imagine learning a language in 1 year. She learned English in 1 year. She was able to write a story and it won her.
She's special. Children are very special.
It won her a medal and she will be getting that in a bit.
And the surprising thing, she's a refugee. She did not hide out her image.
True. We need to believe in who we are and work towards getting better.
Actually,
your situation does not define who you will be in the future.
But I think they should not now call them refugee.
What should they be called?
That name is a bit big and it explains like a lot of details.
Okay.
They are special.
Just special.
Special.
And that is exactly it. Beautiful stories coming through on how COVID-19 has affected the people. That was very touching. You've lost your relatives in a war, and then you're coming and you're afraid of losing your relatives again to a disease. Very, very sad. But I hope that the pleas of Melville will go to government on, training and providing job opportunities. Nelly, let's get to know our final winner. All of us are winners. Everyone who participated is a winner. But just for today, who is that person who topped the category of writing?
And our winner of writing is... Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Maurice Baliahe. You're most welcome.
He is the king of writing.
King of writing.
Definitely. Maurice, thank you. Feel free to sanitize. While you continue, feel free to sanitize your surface and the microphone and make sure that you are safe. The sanitizer is right under there. Oh, yes. We can't wait to listen to the story of Maurice as he speaks to us. You can adjust the microphone to make sure that you are comfortable. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, absolutely. My name is Maurice Baliari. I'm 20 years old. I'm a high school leaver. If you want to help some people in the world, you need to make up your mind and write about issues which men and women, which gentlemen and women cannot express. You need to make up your mind and write about those issues, because men and women are not talking about them, but they don't know that they sabotage the future generation. The moderator said that I am the winner. That does not make news. How do you become a winner among children who are still getting pregnant? How do you become a winner among children who can't get food? How do you become a winner among children who are not in school? How do you become a winner among girls who are still suffering from gender-based violence? It does not make news. It does not make news. But my heading of my title of my essay was The Unheard Voice of the African Girl During the COVID-19 Pandemic. The unheard voice. We need to believe that when we got this pandemic, governments all over the world were concentrated on reducing the spread of COVID-19 cases and reducing the death rates. But down on the grassroots, where we come from, girls were bitterly and seriously bleeding. My experience. Girls who are here, you are so lucky. But making it to this platform, I have passed through thorns and stones. You who are here, you have also passed through thorns and stones. But what about our fellow children who are in those districts where there is no this platform, where they cannot exercise themselves? On this day of celebrating this day, the Children's Day, your day, my day, as long as we still have members of parliament who drive their vehicles on the streets of Kampala, bypassing those street children, as long as we still have ministers with their convoy on the streets of Kampala, on the streets of Fort Portal, on the streets of Karugutu, without helping any child, we are doing this for ceremonial. We are doing this for ceremonial. As long as we still have members of the public service who assume they are children rights activists, but while driving their vehicle on the streets of Kampala, they cannot help any kid. We are not doing this from the bottom of our heart. And children who are here, if you don't speak for yourself, no one is going to speak for you. This is our time. This is our day. Girls, back home, about my essay. Peace, a 12-year-old positive, HIV positive, could not move to the nearest referral hospital to go and pick her ARVs, and she almost died. Scovia, my friend, my neighbor, got pregnant, and she will not go back to school. Oliver is simultaneously suffering from gender-based violence. Anita, my former A-level old girl, she got raped. And you tell me I'm the winner? It does not make any news. I'm not the first and I'm not the last. I'm becoming the winner among children who are financially disadvantaged and poverty-stricken, who have no one to speak for them. But we are here pretending to celebrate their day. When we leaders, we have understood that the politics has failed to address these challenges. But now it's you and me, to come up. Stand. Girls, you have got a chance. I'm speaking for you. I'm standing in here for you. I want next time another girl to come here and speak for their fellow girls. Children, girls, this is the time when the politics has failed. But this is the time between you and me. I have done my part to raise these issues. And UNICEF has appreciated these issues.
Yes.
But this is a time for you and me to join me. It is the same voice that has brought the minister here, that has brought the UNICEF representative here. We want you and me, when we come together, girls, in this country, join me. We raise your voice. It is the very voice that will bring the president here. It is the very voice that will bring Mama Janet Katam 7 here. This is the time when we need to stand and express ourselves. No one is going to talk for us. The leaders are not ready. We need to stand. Charity and voluntarism, as I round up, charity and voluntarism is everyone's responsibility. So having raised these issues, my question to you, sir, is, the UN representative, my question to you, Minister, is, how fast are you going to address these challenges during this pandemic and post-pandemic era? Myself, my dream is down. I'm a senior six leaver. I wanted to be a medic. I did biology, chemistry, mathematics at A level. I failed, I got one principal pass. I'm here, and I'm pretending to be a writer. I wanted to be a doctor. I'm here. A dream is gone, and I'm pretending to be a speaker, to be a writer. Who is coming for my rescue? Are you going to leave children die like this? How fast are you going to address these challenges? Girls, you need to join me, and you will raise our voice until it is heard. Our plight for the future, we seek all. Girls, the girl child is talking. We seek all to be heard at least once, at least once. In our plight for the future has met a few challenges here and there. And they range from our homes to the schools, to the homes that have given birth to us, to the schools that nurture us. Okay. And the girl child is crying. You need to hear us at least once.
Sure.
At least once. How fast will you address them during this pandemic and post-pandemic era? Okay. I thank you very much. I thank you.
Thank you, Morris. I can only sigh. I can only sigh because he's speaking deep to the issues. And interestingly, he's not talking about only his experience, but also speaking for the girls that he's seen in the community, raped, getting pregnant, given away. I mean, if we don't listen now, I don't think there is a better time for us to listen to the children. Like he says, he doesn't pride in being a winner, but he prides in speaking about the issues of the girls out there. And I want to say a special thank you, UNICEF, for coming up with this contest that has made us realize that these are the things that children have been watching, and they're not just watching, but they aspire to change this. Nelly, I can't say much as opposed to saying, this is beautiful, but we have another category.
Yes. And to add on what he said, he posed the question to all of us. What are the local leaders doing? What are the people, members of parliament doing? They're there, but in form of driving their cars, thinking of themselves, but what are they doing deep down there, not only in central, but also in deep villages out there? Because most organizations concentrate in central, only in Kampala, but when you go deep down to Moroto, as he said, there are a lot of girls, young boys, facing a lot of challenges. What is the government doing, and what are we doing as children to bring out our voices?
That's very true, and I thank UNICEF for going across. It wasn't only in Kampala. We're seeing people from Toroko, from Fort Portal, from so many other areas. As you will be listening to our winners today, it wasn't only focused in Kampala. That is a very, very painful experience that Morris had to explain right there. But we have another category, and that is videography. This time it was bringing the visuals to light. And who are the people who topped this category in bringing out the plight of the children during the COVID-19 pandemic? Our second runners-up, Nelly, who is that?
And our second runner-up in videography is Josephine Angutaru.
A round of applause for Josephine Angutaru as she comes to speak to us. Why videography? Many of us think videography is for the adults, you know, people who are experienced. But look at Josephine. Sanitize and feel free to adjust your microphone, Josephine, for you to be able to speak. And you can have your mask off just briefly.
Okay. My name is Ankutaru Josephine. I'm from Yumbe district. I chose to make a video for a short time because it was much easier for me to expose what the children in Yumbe, what the COVID-19 has done to the children in Yumbe. Yeah, many children in Yumbe, especially girls, have been turned into housemaids, taking care of babies, collecting firewood, and doing other chores, thinking that they are ready for marriage. And even some have been married, and some have got pregnant. Many boys in Yumbe streets have decided to go and sell soaps, wash cars to earn money. And also in Yumbe, education has become expensive for us. Going for coaching is expensive. Most of the parents in Yumbe do not have smartphones, have Mwapesa phones. These Mapesa phones which are with buttons, which we cannot use to access learnings. And also doing home study is boring. Like if you go to Yumbe now, you ask a question, what is photosynthesis? No one can answer you because they have been at home for 2 years. So please, Minister of State for Youth and Children Affairs, I'm begging you to talk to Mama Janet to bring forward the date of opening schools before more get affected. Because even two of adolescent girls in my community, Odropi, have become pregnant. So I am begging you to talk to Mama Janet to bring the date forward. And also, the pandemic has affected my future career. I wanted to become a surgeon, but during the COVID-19, I have developed love for community work. For example, I was taken to go, recently there was a district budget conference in Yumbe being held, and I was invited to go and represent the children in Yumbe, which was fun for me. So please, Mama Janet, I am begging you to bring forward the date of opening schools soon, because school is the safest place for us adolescents to enjoy our rights. So I want to take this opportunity to thank UNICEF, Yumbe District, Trailblazers Mentoring Foundation, and also the people in the district for helping the adolescents. I know few in Yumbe have been helped like me. Me, I'm going for coachings, but what about other children? They are at home. So thank you so much, UNICEF. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Josephine. Thank you. And I think Josephine has mentioned the right statement that these children, now more than ever, we realize they're safer at school than home. Because we send them home thinking they're going to be with parents and their relatives and the community, and it's the same people who are impregnating them. It's the same people who are violating their rights. It's very true. I think, yes, school is safer for these adolescents and the children. Nelly, do you want to tell us who our first runner-up is for the category of videography?
And our first runner is Eva Nduga, a very young, brilliant, beautiful girl. You're most welcome. All of you are special. You're most welcome. Walk like a queen. It's your day.
And Eva, feel free to sanitize and sanitize your microphone and the area so you can speak without your mask.
Good morning to everyone.
Good morning, Eva.
My name is Nadunga Eva. I come from Bali, the land of Bamasaba. I hope you all know that place of Embaru. Yes. Do not get excited because it's not the season. Okay. Before COVID-19, I was in P6. After 2 years, I do not know which class I am. But COVID-19 has exposed me to child poverty and child labor. I'm moving around villages looking for scrap and help my family to afford food. And the food we afford is not nutritious. Number one, why I chose a video. A video speaks volumes. 2, COVID-19 has exposed me to child labor and child poverty. So it is the video that could send the message clearly. I want to thank UNICEF for reaching out to the forest as Mbale. I thank UNICEF again for standing with us. I thank UNICEF for standing again with us. Dear parents and the government, I want to remind you, when you keep the doors of schools closed, you are opening other 2 doors. One, hospitals, another is prison. A boy is going to pregnant a girl, and a boy will go to prison, and a girl will go to the hospital. Open our schools. I am leaving a question on this Children's Day. Will you stand with us? Stand with us. Children, we are the hope, salt, and future of the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eva. I am having chills. I am having goosebumps all over me. This has been one of the hardest, jobs to do ever in my career, having to listen to children speak about the experience such as this. Nelly.
She mentioned of child labor. Nowadays, if you move in our communities, you'll get a young girl selling herself only at 1,500. Imagine.
You've talked about those girls in Kawempe.
Yes. They're there. Children are exposed to risk outside there. The young girls, the boys, in which boys are dealing more in drugs and thefts.
And we are opening two doors, like Eva said, either prison or you're opening the doors to hospitals. So the president will be speaking tonight, and I know that these messages will actually go straight. I mean tomorrow, and I hope that these will definitely be going to him. Let's get to know who topped the category of videography. I'm excited about these ones. Tell us, Nelly.
And this time around, we have beautiful, young, energetic ladies, and that is Samalin Tutu and Viet Namara. Namara, you're most welcome.
Samali and Viet, welcome. And I think it's going to be a totally different one for these two.
And they're not twins, but they're special.
Very special. And because they are special, we're going to change the entire setting. I will just get this sanitizer and sanitize it so you can be able to use this as opposed to that, right? Please come forward. Feel free to just draw closer and speak to us about your category.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. I have a message for the government and the president. I want him to open schools, because if you want to become a doctor, you imagine you're going for brain surgery. You get to the brain. You accidentally cut the brain, and it might cause death because you never studied.
Okay.
So I thank UNICEF for this opportunity to find out what children are going through.
You didn't tell us your name. The people had Samali and Evit. They don't know who is Samali, who is Evit. They even probably think you're twins.
My name is Intutu Samali. I'm 8 years old at Kampala Parents School.
My name is Yvette Namara. I'm 6 years old at Kampala Parents School.
And we are sisters.
Okay, so Yvette, what do you want to become, or what is your dream, and why did you participate in this competition with your sister?
I want to become an architect.
Okay.
And why I participated in this video is because the video is more easier for me than writing.
Beautiful. And Samali, what do you want to become when you grow up?
A doctor.
We have a doctor and an architect right here with us. And do you think COVID-19 has affected children in any way, in your view?
Yes.
Go ahead and tell us how.
Child labor.
Okay. Did you help mommy in doing some housework, or you were just watching TV all throughout?
I help her in housework.
Okay. Thank you, Evit and Samali. A round of applause, another one for Evit and Samali, who are winners for the videography category. Well, the children have told the president, please open the schools. That is the only message that the children are actually giving to the president at this point in time, because they're tired of staying home. And also because the children didn't go to school, you don't want to have a doctor operating and they cause a death. They always say that a mistake of a doctor is buried 6 feet under, right? And that's a reality. Sometimes we never get to realize that some of these deaths are because it was a mistake. no doctor will come up and say I made a mistake at the end of the day. But as we continue with this discussion, Nelly, after finding out who are our winners for the videography and writing category, we have a beautiful video that we would like to show our viewers right here. And we want to just show you a little bit more about our winners and their profiles before we go to our last two categories, and then get to hear from our UNICEF representative as well as our minister. So let's take a look at these videos. And of course, I want to say a special thank you to NBS TV, to NTV Uganda, and to Bukede TV for making sure that this broadcast actually comes to life. And a much more better thank you to UNICEF for bringing these stories to life. Nelly, back to you.
Welcome back from that great video that you've seen. Our children have participated in and they have won. All of them won. Though some are not here, but they're all special. Now, without taking time, let us go in and I'm going to introduce these special winners of category of photography. And our second runner-up is Robert Akim.
Photography, Robert Akim. Let's give him a round of applause as he comes through. Robert will let us know why photography and not writing or videography or illustration. Robert Akim, welcome, and feel free to sanitize. and adjust that microphone to your own fitting. All right, this is one of our other categories, which is photography, and we'll get to find out the winners. Robert Akim is our second runner-up. Over to you, Robert.
It has always been a honor. It has always been a privilege that I, Akim Robert, from Koboko, studying in St. Charles Luanga College, Koboko, has ever wished for, as into standing in front of great minds, standing in front of people who think children are the best power into the world's development. Solving a predicament in front of people is the first thing, but identifying and bringing onto views on how this is brought about is another thing. But I think this is what UNICEF is trying to show you today. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so happy and I am filled with bliss, which is so endless, because I am here to talk, first of all, one as a child, two as a developer, and three, on behalf of the children in this whole world. One thing for sure is we see challenges in our day-to-day activities. We see challenges in everything we try to do. We see challenges every time. But ladies and gentlemen, do we actually ask ourselves who actually faces these challenges most? And who, if you don't help, will actually suffer most in the future? We talk about the children. I think that's the reason why UNICEF is on move to ensure that they help the children educational-wise, ensure that they help the children health-wise, ensuring that they ascertain their goals, ensure that they ascertain their dreams. Thank you so much, UNICEF. Now, in this pandemic, very many changes have been brought onto the world of children. Not only children, but also adults. But this time we talk about the children. First and foremost, educational-wise, we realize that we have been under lockdown in most schools. Uganda right now is under lockdown. And government has gone ahead introducing very many new techniques to ensure that education reaches to us. But not that all the children acquire the requirements that are needed as online lessons are coming on. Talk about the village children who don't actually afford these phones, whose parents even hardly use smartphones, they use button phones. And the government is ensuring that these online lessons will go on. How are they going to access the lesson? It is the question. How are they going to access these lessons? And the government also gone ahead introducing these scripts whereby you go and get from the nearest school for the children to learn. And my dear parents, fathers, and stakeholders, trust and believe in me. Some of our parents in villages, they actually don't know how to read and write. And you are taking such a script to such a parent. Are you sure that such a parent is going to explain to that child? Are we sure? Ladies and gentlemen, not only that we had goals, people wanted to finish their educational level. Children wanted to finish their educational level to ensure that they study other things. But what's happening today? They have been retained. Uganda 3 years down, and still the same Uganda. We are talking about the students. We are talking about the children. You go back and make sure that you start afresh from where you left the class. It's really painful and it's heartbreaking. You realize time being resource, time being money. Then we realize that it has been wasted in the educational sector of a child. That's why I am here today saying that I've been so much affected as a child. Ladies and gentlemen, stakeholders, let's not only see this, let's put it into practice and it will work. You see, I am so hurt. I feel a lot of heart pain. I feel like that my heart is breaking. When I see a girl child, when I see a boy child seated down on the roots, suffering, struggling, looking up and down to ensure that he gets needs. They are suffering. And we are here asking ourselves, why are those children on the streets? Why are girls renting themselves on the streets to ensure that they get something? We are here asking this question. And we really know that children are really suffering down there. They are really suffering. For me, I'll not be surprised to see a girl standing on the street. Hello, customer, I'm here. Do you have anything like 500, 700? Trust and believe in me. It is happening there in Koboko. Those who have a chance to visit Koboko, it is happening there.
Okay.
You go at around 8 to 9. They are busy on the street. Those young girls, P5, P6, they are there on the streets, begging for money to come and sleep with them. Imagine that young girl who still have something important inside her brain. I always cry. I always sit down. I always ensure that I send my thoughts back into my brain. I send my thoughts back to the Heavenly Father to internalize it, to intervene, to ensure that I get the right answers as to why the child is suffering today.
Okay.
And we really appreciate UNICEF. We appreciate UNICEF so much.
Okay.
For bringing us together to share her experiences, to share her, to ensure that she solves the child's education, ensure that she solves the child's health, ensure that she actually gets the dreams of the child. Thanks so much, UNICEF. Concerning my photography, it's something simple. The reason why I check photograph and I took photograph, if I'm to tell you, you will just feel very sorry. Trust and believe in me. I had any single talent in photograph. It was when I reached P5 that I realized that, man, you are poor in photograph. It was in P5 wherever we introduced to draw maps. I drew my maps. I drew a map of Uganda. It was in form of actually a triangle. You could not believe.
Okay, Robert, as you get to wind up, yes?
Yes. And then from there, I said, yeah, me, Robert, why not to be good in photograph? Why should I behave like this? And then starting from there, I pick an interest in photograph, in fine art specifically. I pick an interest just straight away. And then I was just there practicing. And then when I get to, when I went up with my P7, PLE, I kind of sat down. I reflected. Because I have a role model, my brother there in the village. He does fine art. The man is really earning out of fine art. Trust in me, he never went to school. And he's there earning. I said, if this is the case, why should I just leave this? Okay. I came and sat down. I reflected back. I took interest in fine art, even though I had no talent. And then from there, I joined my secondary. I took it seriously as a serious thing, as a serious subject.
Okay.
And then from there, I came back home for holidays. I asked my father, hey, father, I want to do fine art. He asked me, do you have talent? I said, I want to do fine art. I have interest, so long as I don't have a talent. He said, oh, I don't believe, but you can. And then still my father never believed in me. Well, you know what I did? I took a snap of his head. I drew it exactly, and then I placed it in front of his bed. He came and asked, what's this? Who could this be? I asked him, do you have another son?
Okay.
Then therefore he came to his sense that, the man
can actually do it.
All right, yeah, I can actually do it.
Okay.
But still, he didn't support me. He was just there. He can't do it, can't do it. Right till, but imagine my father could not believe that I was the one doing that. But I said, my father, if you don't believe in me, one day you will believe. And then I went ahead, I looked for the post of president. I looked for the post, all the post ways. And then I painted a spot. Then from there, I began doing my painting of the president to ensure that my father believes in me, that I have some bit of talent, then supports me to go for a higher education. Make sure that ensuring that I actually solve a way with my dream.
Okay, and here we have the portrait
and then
of
here
the president.
we have the photograph of the president. That's when my father came into his sense that, hey, you are doing good in fine art. But I still lack that support in fine art.
A round of applause for Robert.
Yes. Okay, before I sit down,
Robert, we need to wind up. Our time is running out.
Let's talk to the world as children.
Okay.
Share a better tomorrow. Work for a better tomorrow. And work for our families. Thanks so much for going on my country.
Thank you, Robert. Wow, a beautiful story. For him, it wasn't just about the talent, it was the interest. And when you're interested in something and give it your all, look what we had, that previous portrait of the president. Nelly, let's go straight into our first runner-up of the photography category.
And our first runner-up is Mercy Wanyenze.
A round of applause for Mercy Wanyenze, our first runner-up for the photography category. Mercy, I hope we will be able to use up our 2 minutes like we promised, and make sure that you sanitize and be very safe, and sanitize your microphone as well. And tell us why photography, it's considered sometimes to be for a male thing.
Protocol observed. Greetings to everyone. I am by name Omanyenze Mercy Daphne from Okono district. I go to Cornerstone Junior School in primary 5 and 11 years of age. My inspiration began in the farm. Before COVID-19, I was scared of all kinds of animals. But during the COVID-19 lockdown, I got a chance to express my fear and told my dad to take me to the farm. I started grazing the goats, feeding the cows. And in COVID-19, I learned how to sew, to crochet, to knit, and to make jewelry. I would like to appreciate the UNICEF for having a special day for all children. Thank you very much, UNICEF. This is my story about COVID. COVID began in 2018, where it was manufactured by the Chinese. It began spreading in 2019 worldwide. That is when we heard that we are going to close schools. I really felt bad, but I had nothing to do to save my health, my family, and my friends. COVID-19 has done good and bad to all of us children. COVID-19 has taught me many house chores. I was in boarding school and I didn't have enough time to do household chores with my mom. Since my sisters went back to school, I cook the food at home. I wash plates, I wash clothes, and I mop the house sometimes. COVID has done many bad things, like there are many teenage pregnancies. There are many children positive of HIV. Like my friend said from Masabaland, when I go to the village, I could find my friends busy on the street. As we were coming with my mom, I saw many street children begging in windows of people. I couldn't believe it. How could you pass on those poor children? Children are suffering, and the president, I'm sorry to say this, but I think he doesn't mind so much. I would like to conclude by saying I would request the Minister of Health to find a way of giving some free treatment to most people who don't have enough money to take the children in hospital. And provide gadgets to most children in villages who can't afford data, money for gadget, and sometimes money for food. I wonder why is it that most of us here seated, why is it that we have this opportunity? Why did God choose us and not those children? I would like to thank God Almighty, UNICEF organizers, and our dear President for organizing a wonderful day for all children.
Okay.
Thank you very
Mercy.
much.
And well, the children know that COVID was manufactured. I think the media, we need to do a little bit more than that. And Mercy, the president cares. And well, the minister will be delivering also a bit of some of the things that the president has done to show that he actually cares about the children. Let's go, Nelly, straight to who our winner is for the photography category.
And our winner is Sophia Natsali. Sophia, you're most welcome.
Sophia, wherever you are, a round of applause for you as you come to speak to us.
And she's a model.
Oh, yes, Sophia is a model. By the way, I wish we could be able to have a song today as she's going away. She catwalks for us from here. So Sophia, you'll be telling us about the category of photography and not any other. Why it?
First, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am Sophia Natsali. I am a photography, but I am also a model. Because you can't be a model when you are not a photography. And I am full of imaginations. And always, my judge always tells me that I'm full of imaginations. I imagine things, people, pictures. That's why I chose photography. And let me start it in the beginning. One time when my judge was checking her phone, she found that there was children's contest. And I asked her, can I join the contest? She said, yes, you can join the contest. And I asked her again, how can I join this contest? She said that you have to write a letter. But in that letter, you have to explain how COVID has affected you. And I told her, is that all? I went in my room and I wrote the letter, but it took me a couple of days. After writing the letter, I took it to her. She read through it and she was very happy about it. And I even told her that, Jaja, I made even my own classroom behind our house. I took her there and I told her, this is my desk, this is my blackboard, and this is my classmate, Nasha. And she asked me how I felt. I told her, what is left in my head is imagination.
Wow.
I imagine not being with my friends. I imagine not playing with my friends. I imagine not being with my favorite English teacher. I imagine even one man passed by me in a car, and he told me that, Muala, come and we go. How? You are a man, you are a father, but you are asking me to come and go where? You don't give yourself respect. If you don't give yourself respect, no one will respect you. Let me thank the UNICEF for this day. And let me ask all the men in this whole country, how can you get respect when you do not respect yourself? How? And I want to request our President Museveni, to release our schools, because I think a school is the best place for all children. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sophia. And maybe many of you don't know, Sophia's classmate in the backyard is a dog. Yes, that's her classmate. She didn't tell you that. Sorry, Sophia. Sophia's classmate is a dog, and that is why she's emotional about missing her classmates and her teacher. Well, because of time, we'll need to move on straight to our next category, which is illustration. And we need to find out our second runners-up. Nelly, tell us.
Our second runner-up of illustration is Juma Ashad.
Juma
Ashid, you're most welcome.
Ashahid Juma, you'll have a minute to be able to tell us about illustration. Why it and not photography and not writing and not videography?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Ashahid Juma, 19 years old, from Jinja district. I'm a street artist. I am a street artist changing lives through art in slums. Firstly, I would love to thank UNICEF for giving me this platform and being part of them. Thank you so much, UNICEF. My artwork is based on my personal experience and the people I live with in the slums of Jinja. Jinja district is one of the poorest, eastern region is one of the poorest regions in Uganda currently, and I live with children who live in the slums of Jinja. This mostly to talk about my artwork, Pain of the Girl Child. Mostly the girls are the affected people in the slums of Jinja district. Most girls in Jinja face a lot of problems such as poor education, child labor, gender-based violence, many problems. So my story about my art piece is based on my personal experience and the people I live with. The pain, I expressed my pain through my art piece. Showing you my art piece is made up of a young girl wearing a mask of a 2,000 Ugandan shilling, being forced on by a man. This young girl is called Barbara, was living in the slums of Jinja, and he was sold off to a man for only 2,000 Ugandan shillings so that the mother and the father could get food to eat in the COVID-19 period. So this girl was sold off to a man, and they got the 2,000 Ugandan shillings. So it frustrated me, so that I expressed my feeling through my art piece. The art piece is showing the negativity and the positivity. The negativity is in red and the positivity is in green, such as pregnant, stop drug abuse, tears, and what. Then the positivity is in green. Me as an artist, I'm inspired by the stories I find in the slums. I grew up drawing on walls. This I didn't manage to draw on walls. It was just an illustration. But I draw on walls. I educate children. They inspire. Every time I find children, I get paint and I write on the walls. I do street art. I draw pictures. Those pictures inspire, educate, unite us, all of us in the slums. Whenever I'm in slums, when I'm with the children, we all unite through art. So I don't know whether I was born to be an artist. I think art chose me to be an artist. My message, before the message, I would love to send my message to the children in the slums, because I represent children in the slums, mostly Jinja district, should have hope and they believe in themselves. Art is there for us all. I know all of us have here talents, but we can use our talents to motivate, to educate, to inspire, to make positivity in our communities, especially the slums where we are living in, where the government even don't know the slums. Because if the government cannot go to the ghettos, then the ghettos will come to the government.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
A round of applause for Ashahid Juma. Art chose him, and it's beautiful that he is expressing it. Let's find out our first runners-up, Nelly, in the category of illustration.
Our first runner-up in the category of illustration is Emmanuel Mukisa. God is with us in this room.
Emmanuel, you'll have a minute to tell us about your illustration and why you chose illustration of all the other categories that were taken through. Our time is really against us, so I request that we manage the time well. So illustration is our last and fourth category, and we'll also be able to find out from the judges what they think about these entries and what exactly their experience was choosing the final one. Emmanuel, go ahead.
I bless the Lord for taking me this far. My name is Mukisa Emmanuel, and I'm 15 years. I want to thank UNICEF for giving children this opportunity to share their experiences. So, This was my experience. In the first lockdown, I learned many things. I learned to plant crops. I learned to cook. I got some time to practice some of my talents. But in the second lockdown, it was very difficult because my guardians and parents were not working. So I had to wake up very early in the morning and do house chores like fetching water for the whole family. And others, when the lockdown was eased, they paid online studies for me. So it made work harder. I used to attend lessons and also attend to the house chores at the same time, which made life hard. And that is what I experienced, but the message I'm sending to the Minister of Education is to, in the next lockdown,
if there is any,
to give children holiday packages or other works which can make them busy instead of online studies, because it is expensive.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Emmanuel Mukisa. It's expensive by internet. You have to have gadgets and all that. Let's get our final winner of the different categories, and that's in the category of illustration. Nelly?
Our first winner is winner.
Okay, yes, the winner of this category
is David Mega.
A round of applause for David Menga, ladies and gentlemen, as he speaks to us about illustration. Well, he has something beautiful that he is having with himself. Menga, you'll have a minute to tell us about that beautiful illustration. We all see a mask, but you probably don't understand why it is. He will explain to us. Menga, go ahead.
Morning, everyone. My name is David Menga. I'm a Congolese from Congo by nationality. I'm a refugee from Nakivale Refugee Settlement. And I'm here to tell you the meaning, the reason why I've drawn this project. So, before COVID-19, I dwelt a better life full of expectation to be an important person in life. I and my parents were fighting together to achieve our goals. My dream of drawing and painting were huge and prestigious. Also, I was happy that I could fulfill my wishes. As I knew through my art of drawing and painting, I will also become an important person in life. Unfortunately, the gloomy weather changed the situation and affected the whole world. Unbreakable chains tried my life dream. Collapse turned into blank and zero. The storm cloud loomed the large part of my hope. This gruesome virus perished my thought and locked my dream behind the face mask. The light went far from us children. Smiling turned into tears and regret. My room became my cell. More questions engraved in our heads without answers. I'm spent of living, and desperation took strong. Oh God, I ask myself, oh God, who wanna free us from this calamity? But another time I say that, but hope remains in our heart, living in the expectation of knowing that this too shall pass. Otherwise, I ask myself that our elders, they passed this situation. They did not face on this situation. But in this generation of this child, we are facing a blind situation. So thank you for today.
All right, thank you very much, Menga. A round of applause to him. That's a beautiful art piece. And once again, a bigger round of applause to all our winners. All of us are winners. Everyone who participated in this is a winner. And from me and Nelly, we want now to invite Auntie Jovita. We all know her as Auntie Jovita. Of course, she is Jovita Ajuna, who is a child rights advocate, as well as the founder of Auntie Jovita Children's Foundation, to just give us about a general observation. Well, Auntie Jovita will be speaking from, you want to speak from? You can come, please, Auntie Jovita, and make sure that, how are these entries? What do you think about them? These were chilling stories. Some of them were very, very emotional. I'll give you just a few minutes to wrap up that, Auntie Jovita. Let's welcome her again. Feel free to adjust the microphone to fit you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
How are you? Please have some energy. You are in a special place. You are representing different children from everywhere. So please have some energy so that they can feel happy to know that you're representing them here. I'm called Jovita Ajuna, but children know me as Auntie Jovita. I was one of the judges. Thank you, UNICEF. Thank you, our Honorable Minister, for being with us. My OG, Mary Hill. Pearl, Mary Hill, thank you for being here, and thank you for representing our school. At this moment, I want to tell you that UNICEF, you did a very good job to bring up this creativity contest. As you can read our message, which I represented the judges, these children were expressing the pain, the challenges that are going within their mind. There is no other avenue they could have got to express themselves. And to become so emotional, when you read all the 300 scripts or when you look at what the children painted and you get to know what is happening in the communities. I think we need to find out a way of addressing these issues, because the next generation we are going to have will need a lot of counseling. They will need a lot of rehabilitation. So as you think of opening schools, please also think about the counseling bit. These children are not just going to go back to school. They will need someone to fall back to. They are not telling their parents what they are going through, because some of the parents are the people who are making them stressed. They are the parents who are raping them. They are the parents who are defiling. When I use the word rape, I don't mean they are defiling their rights. We are not letting children be children. And please, children, you also need to know that as long as you're referred to as a child, you need to behave like a child. The moment you go on the streets to sell yourself, you're no longer a child. If you are being referred to as a child, behave in a way a child is supposed to behave. Be respectful, be obedient, but at the same time, stand up for your rights. Your rights don't mean jumping out of your house and just go meandering around the whole village. Don't move at night. What should you be doing at night at 8, at 7, when curfew is at 7? What are you doing outside your home? What are you doing in people's homes? What are you visiting? Whom are you visiting? For what reason are you visiting? Do your parents know, do your guardians know that you're out of your home and you're visiting? How are you dressed? Think about the way you compose yourself. Once you're a child, do things children do. Okay. And maybe that one will take us another step. But the moment you behave, you're a child and you're behaving like an adult, then you're bound to find challenges. And maybe that's why we are finding all these stories I am sorry to say, COVID-19 doesn't push us to get teenage pregnancies. You can avoid, you can stand firm. You can be strong and achieve your dream. Rapings and all defilements were there even before. But how you compose yourself, you can avoid some of these vices. Okay. I know it's hard talk, but you know your life is your life. It has no spare parts. You live once. Keep yourself for the right things at the right time in the right place.
Sure.
We are going to have more sick children. We are thinking about COVID. Are we thinking about HIV? Are we thinking about all these sexually transmitted diseases? How does a mother be giving birth and the child is giving birth and in the same household? Who is going to look after the other? Today you're lucky to be here. Please go and be champions wherever you are. Go and be champions. Go and be, go and be the eyes that people would want to be. Let people wish to be like you. Let people aspire to be like you or better than you. If someone does, and one thing I think that is mirrored, one thing that is even causing us issues is we are keeping so many secrets. We are not sharing with adults in our lives what is challenging us. Please, parents, lend an ear to your children. Guardians, lend an ear to your children so that they can share. Otherwise, these stories we hear and the stories we got from the context, you can really see that children are going through hell.
Okay.
And by all the participants who are winners, all of them, they had their stories. But as in a competition, yes, there are always those who perform better. But the mere fact that you got a pen and a piece of paper and you wrote something and you sent it in through to UNICEF, the confidence you expressed, because once something gets out of your hand, it has already gone out to the world. You don't know who is going to read it. You don't know who is going to see it. So thank you for showing us that confidence, the self-esteem. Just picking a marker or coloring and you send in your artwork, that was already good enough. But of course, in every competition, there are those who perform better than others.
Okay.
And for UNICEF, this was very good for you because children are going to call you their partners. You are now part of them. They believe you are the people who understand them because you gave them an opportunity to express themselves. And I wish that for all the entries that came through, just compile and send to those communities so that people read what these children were going through. You might not need to put names for some of the stories, by the way, because I think there are stories where you wouldn't want to attach a name. Maybe you just put a code for all of them. Maybe the winners, yes, but the other ones you can just compile a book, send it to those communities so that people read and understand what the judges went through to get even the winners. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Auntie Jovita. She's our aunt, the children, she's our aunt, that's her name. Let me take this opportunity to invite Madam Cynthia Mpanga, Manager, Corporate Affairs, Standard Chartered Bank Uganda, a judge representing the private sector. Madam Cynthia, you'll be speaking of the role of the private sector in supporting children during the COVID pandemic.
A round of applause for Cynthia Mpanga.
Thank you very much, young lady, for that introduction. A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's such a great honor to be part of this celebration and this day. As I've been introduced, my name is Cynthia Mpanga. I am the Corporate Affairs Manager for Standard Chartered Bank, and I'm also the past president of PROW, and I serve on a couple of boards. So I want to first off start by recognizing everyone in your different capacities, and also congratulate the winners. I was part of the judging process. it was very difficult actually getting the winners out of, the submissions. So many congratulations to everyone. And for those who didn't win, like Auntie Jovita just said, you are all winners by having made that effort to also participate and contribute. So today, my role is a very exciting one. I'm here to talk about the role of private sector in supporting children during the COVID pandemic. I couldn't have been asked to speak to something better as a person who handles the brand and marketing and communication of Standard Chartered Bank, and who's been very involved in the COVID efforts, and also not just from Standard Chartered's perspective, but also from the private sector Foundation of Uganda, where I've been serving as a board member, and the Uganda Chamber of Mines and Petroleum, where I still serve as a board member. So it's very exciting to be able to speak to you today about what the private sector can really do. And really, when I thought about what we can do, is what we're already doing. But is every private sector company doing this? Is the question. Are we collaborating? How can we avert the spread of the pandemic and help rebuild communities together, supporting all the different sectors, stakeholders, humanitarian organizations, government, and so on and so forth. So as I speak to you today, I'm going to draw examples of practicality, how the private sector is doing this. By sharing, I use Standard Chartered Bank as a case study, so you hear a lot more about that. But I will speak to what we can do and what we have done. And I'll start by sharing that our mandate really as private sector and as responsible corporate social as part of our corporate social responsibility, the number one thing we can do is contribute to protecting children and families in the community if we are really going to pay it forward as companies that benefit from these communities. We all know that companies exist solely because communities exist. Without healthy, vibrant, and productive communities, we wouldn't be profitable, we would close our businesses and we'll all go home without jobs, and it will have many ripple effects. So it is our duty to support children, to support families, to support communities. The other thing is, of course, we are there to provide, access to emergency and critical supplies, and really contribute to the humanitarian effort. We recognize that as companies, we do not always have the ability to implement. We might have different resources at our disposal, but we don't always have the ability because we are not specialists really in emergency services, humanitarian efforts. And there are people and companies that specialize in that. So what we can do is provide things like financial support. And this, like I said, we have to do continuously, not as a one-off like we did when the COVID pandemic broke out last year, but continuously. And I'll give you an example. Standard Chartered Bank last year when the pandemic broke out, we gave UNICEF actually $300,000, which translates to slightly over 1 billion shillings, to help with the continuity of education. But we didn't only stop there. We actually funded other NGOs like Uganda Red Cross Society, BRAC Uganda, because they all were doing different things, and we needed to make sure we support as many communities, children inclusive, because the community is not, isolated. The children are not isolated from the community. So we gave in excess of 1.6 billion Uganda shillings to Uganda Red Cross through Uganda Bankers Association, because also banks managed to come together and say, what can we do to contribute to the fight? And that was really helpful, because the smaller banks and other microfinance, institutions who could not afford, to give lump sums of funding were able to still pitch in, And I think UBA made all banks contribute 20 million Uganda shillings, which it gave to the Ministry of Health on our behalf. But we say that is not enough, because there is so much that needs to be done in terms of providing services and helping alleviate the pandemic and the spread. But that's not all. as private sector, the other role we play is advocacy. We have got to lend our voices to the struggle. And this is in every space where we can influence, where we play and so on. We need to lend our voices on ensuring that the community and the children are protected, that they have, they are continuously, accessing education, that basically everybody and the children are safe and are okay and are protected. So advocacy efforts are very critical because we have many spaces we play in. We have several stakeholders. I'll give you an example of how we are doing this. As Standard Chartered Bank, we've been doing webinars for customers, where we bring experts on issues like vaccination, and they debunk what vaccination myths. And that's a very big issue right now with the vaccination hesitancy, right?
Oh, yes.
You agree, right? So, hi, Mildred. So,
I'm holding my mic because of time.
Okay, so I'll keep it, but I still have like 3 minutes, right?
About 2.
Okay, cool. All right, so advocacy, I'll speak to in-kind pro bono services. What we do very well is go and offer our services. We go and educate. We have all sorts of skills and professionals in our midst, and this is something private sector can do so well because we have private sector in every sector. So basically, we can be able to extend in-kind services by volunteering, by offering skills, by sensitizing, by reaching out and supporting, other government efforts and other humanitarian agencies. The other thing we can do is supply of protective equipment. And this is something you saw most of us do, handing over cars, because, at one time there was a call for companies to help with vehicles for transportation. And that's a big challenge. We've seen airports challenges with freight, not being able to bring in drugs, but we have, companies that are in that freight, industry. So they should be able to help and come through and pitch in. So our products and services, that's something else we can do. I know for sure that, there are so many services we can lend a hand. I know recently we've been volunteering. What we did is we got our staff to actually read books, audiobooks, and then pass these books on to different communities and children. So whatever anyone can do, and this is not even just private sector, but everybody in their space, they should be able to impact and help support the children in this. The other thing private sector can do is mass sensitization, and I've seen us do quite a lot of that with advertising. One of the things we do in all our branches, we have in our lifts, in our branches, when you're banking, temporarily a message comes on about COVID and it tells you get vaccinated and so on and so forth. But that's also at last year, we replaced all our advertising material on radio, on TV, and we're talking to COVID and how we can protect and preserve children. So there are so many things we can do, but I would like to wrap up by saying that this is not just about what we can do externally. Charity begins at home, because all of our employees are parents, they have children, so empowering them, creating mass sensitization within our companies, and making sure we debunk myths and misinformation. One of the things we do every Friday since March last year, Standard Chartered Bank employees receive a COVID communication, and there's a wealth of information that you can access to share with your employees so that they do the right behaviors and support communities. And then there are several workplace initiatives that we have to put in place as private sector. I'll give you an example. Because of the infection rates in public transport, we hired actually, and we are leasing several buses. So all our staff who have to interface with customers, they are, what is it called? They are checked on a weekly basis because they interface with staff. We made sure they are vaccinated, they have access to all the materials that they need, but also they travel in our cars, and there are strict regulations. They have to have masks while in the bus, and all these behaviors that make sure that we extend and cascade into our communities. So as I wrap up, I would really just say that I call upon all the different private stakeholders, private sector stakeholders, to play a role, because we can all do something, whether in our companies, like I've mentioned, whether externally, whether in the communities, whether supporting humanitarian efforts through companies like institutions like UNICEF. We all can do something, and I appeal to each one of us here where we are to do something. I will end by saying a quote that I really love that speaks to me. It's from Carlos Slim, and he says that most of us aim to live a better world for our children. Yet what we should be doing is living a better children for the world. Because when they are better, they're empowered, they know it all, they will live a better world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Madam Cynthia Mpanga, for that. And as Madam Cynthia Mpanga, who is also representing the judges from the private sector, I would like to request, before we get to know our next speaker, kindly request all our judges for this competition to stand up for recognition. All our judges, kindly, you can see amongst the judges that children as well. Stand up for recognition. You did a great work. Let's give them a bigger round of applause. Those are our judges. Those are the ones who worked tirelessly to ensure that we can be able to get who performed better in which category. All right, you can get seated, and Nelly will be telling us who our next speaker is.
Thank you very much, Mildred. And our next speaker is Dr. Munira Savid.
Dr. Munir Safieldin.
Yeah, Safieldin,
yes.
A special name, from UNICEF representative, Uganda. You're most welcome.
Dr. Munir, welcome. Of course, yes, we're having the children MCs come through. Dr. Munir Safieldin is the UNICEF representative in Uganda, and we're asking why we're celebrating children annually, and also the theme, this year's theme. It's a very interesting one. Over to you, Dr. Munir.
Honorable Minister of State for Youth and Children Affairs, Madam Sarah Mateki, all government officials, all UNICEF partners, the members of the media, the members of the judges who have led us through the entire process, and most importantly, girls and boys, a very good morning to all of you, and a happy World Children's Day for all of you. It gives me a great pleasure to be with you here today to celebrate the World Children's Day. It's very unfortunate that this is the second celebration of the World Children's Day, which is happening under the COVID-19 pandemic. And that's why we could not, unfortunately, have all the 304 participants who contributed, who took part of the creativity context to be with us here today. Many of you are online, so thank you very much for being present. Thank you very much for taking part in this contest, and thanks to all of you who are here. We have heard a number of participants who are among the 304 winners. We hear them, we hear their messages loud and clear. And as you said, as a representative of the judges, in each of the 304 contributions to this context, there is a story worth listening to. And I want to say a few messages. I had a prepared message which I wanted to deliver, but after listening to all the messages delivered by the girls and the boys here, I felt my message needs to be changed a little bit to the context. And I'm quite sure the state minister would have probably the same challenge. We came with a mindset of messages, but we are now trying to respond to the messages we hear from you here today. Let me start by saying your participation in this context has never and will never be in vain. It has already it has already achieved a great part of the purpose. You came here, you delivered messages loud and clear to all of us. You told us what you are going through, and you told us what you want from us, and I'm here on behalf of myself, on behalf of UNICEF. I promise you we will do even more than what we were doing before to respond to your requests. That's my first message. Your participation has not been in vain. Secondly, I want to say that we all care. His Excellency the President cares a lot for you. And let us remember some of the things you talked about. You talked about how important the schools are in your life. You talked about how health is important in your life. You talked about other several things that are important in your life. And remember, it's the President, as the leader of the government, who has made every possible effort to expand education in Uganda. And he is always speaking very proudly about how education has changed the life of Ugandan adults and children. We are now very happy to see in Uganda 15 million people, young people like yourself, 15 million we're going to school every day. And the objective of the nation is to reopen schools as soon as possible. And we are now talking about January 2020, which is 2022, which is about 40 days from today. In 40 days from today, we all anticipate the schools will safely reopen for all of you. So the schools you have is one of the commitments the President, His Excellency the President, Honorable Minister of Education, and all the government is committed to. I also want to assure you that the ministers, the parliamentarians, they care for you. Myself and a number of UNICEF colleagues had a meeting on a number of meetings with the Right Honorable, the Speaker of the Parliament, and a number of parliamentarians. And they have all spoken loud and clear about they want to see positive change happening in the life of the children of Uganda, and they're committed to it. On your behalf, I want to take the participation right a little bit further, and the obligation of listening to children a little bit further. I would like again to make a request to all the honorable members of the Parliament to dedicate the coming few weeks to go back to their constituencies and listen to you and to children like you. Listen to messages like the messages we received from you today. And from UNICEF's side, we will be more than happy to do everything that is possible to facilitate these visits, these meetings by the members of the Parliament, with the children in their constituencies. So this is a commitment from UNICEF to all the members of the Parliament who want to meet with children in their constituencies and listen to them and listen and respond to them in the coming 2 weeks. We are committed to help you. I also want to mention one thing. I was extremely pleased with the girls who came here and spoke very bravely, but also very clearly about what they are going through, not only as themselves, but what their peers are going through. And I was extremely delighted to see the boys who came here with their writings, with their paintings, with their videos, standing up for girls. That was really great. You cannot expect protection to come from someone else. You need to protect yourself, and you need to protect each other. So stand up, boys, stand up for your fellow girls. It's your responsibility. And girls, understand your rights and be loud and clear when you see any of your rights violated. And we are all together, the entire government system, all the civil organizations, and we are all here to stand by your side, to defend you, and to work according to the messages you are conveying to us.
Okay.
I'm so much delighted to see that this nationwide creativity contest has created a lot of interest. And I was told by some of the people who reviewed all these 304 contributions that there were children from outside Uganda who also took part in this context. But a special thanks to the judges for being very inclusive. I was so happy to see children as children coming here without regard to whether they are Ugandians or other nationalities, whether they are refugees or otherwise. This is the spirit Uganda has shown us. And I'm very proud to see that Uganda, and this is the message to you as a new generation of Uganda, to really keep this spirit there, spirit of solidarity, standing with people who need your support. You have spoken about how other children are suffering more than you. And Uganda has already been talking loudly and clear about standing for their neighbors. I heard His Excellency the President several times, very proudly saying he was a refugee. Not shying away. He said he was a refugee in Tanzania. And he went through the suffering of refugees. And that's why he is committed to support refugees, to respect the rights of every refugee who comes to Uganda. This is the spirit I would like you to keep going as well. I'm so much delighted to see that children are practicing their right to speak. And I'm now looking for all of us as the adults, people in the parliament, people in the executive branch of the government, and especially parents, to practice their responsibility of listening and responding. So let me once again say a happy World Children's Day for all of you, and I'm very much delighted to be here. I learned a lot from you. So thank you very much.
And Dr. Munir, just before you leave, please take the honors to invite our minister to come and speak to us as well. Thank you so much.
It's my great honor and pleasure to invite Ms. Sarah Matiki, the Minister of State for Youth and Children Affairs, to deliver her speech, to address you. Thank you very much. Let me make it ready for you.
Since I'm alone, I think I can remove this. Our children, the resident representative of UNICEF, the government officials who are here. I've seen the commissioner in charge of children, Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, the UNICEF staff, the judges that were handling the competition of our children, the CSO's representatives, our parents, distinguished guests, the media fraternity, ladies and gentlemen, I am honored and pleased to join all of you this year as we commemorate the World Children's Day. I would like to start by thanking UNICEF for inviting me here to talk on this very important day of our children. Like he had already said, we came when we were ready to talk different things. But when I listened to the children, I think my speech had to change. There is nothing more that we can give our children than listening to them. And listening to what the children were talking here has made me change my mind and my way of thinking and the way we should handle things. I am privileged to speak on such an important day as we promote international togetherness and commit to improve the overall welfare of our children. as a Minister of State for Youth and Children Affairs, and as a Member of Parliament and a parent, I can attest to the profound importance of initiatives such as this in effecting real change on the ground. World Children's Day offers each of us an opportunity to advocate, promote, and celebrate the children's rights, translating into dialogues and actions that will build a better world for the children. As the children were talking, I am sure all of us are aware, we don't need to close our eyes. The impact of COVID-19 has been very immense in our lives, not the lives of children alone, but even for the parents. The socioeconomic effects of family and community have had a far-reaching impact on the lives of our children everywhere. You will agree with me that the pandemic has quickly turned into the children's rights a crisis. It has had very serious effects, not only in Uganda, but globally. The media has been awash with very many stories, especially on teenage pregnancies, child abuse, child neglect, child labor, like the way the children were expressing it here. It requires an effort from all of us. It is not only Ministry of Gender or the docket of children that can change things. We all have to work together. That's why I want to thank UNICEF for standing in the gap of saying you are ready and you are there and you have shown that you can support the children and listen to the children. Thank you for taking the lead. But I am also positive that as a country, we have learned to cope with the crises that we have managed to overcome them. For example, over the years, we had different political and economic instability, and we managed to overcome that. We had the issue of HIV/AIDS, and I think we managed to overcome that. We had Ebola, we had Marburg, and I believe that even COVID-19 challenge will soon come to an end, God willing. And I want to tell the children that our president is very passionate with the issues of children. At times, of course, I have children at home. At times, they think that closing the school is a punishment, but this was there to protect us as children, to protect the parents. If those who never got the effect of the second wave, some of us lost guardians, lost parents during the second wave. You don't know what it means burying more than 5 relatives in a difference of only 3 days. And you know what it means. It's not because that we do not love our children. Our president loves you. We as leaders love you. Government loves you, but we want you alive. Yes, we have challenges, the challenges which are not easy. That one thing, it all goes back to parenting, our parents. These challenges would be overcome if our parents, we do our work as parents, listen to our children. I know even the parents have challenges that make them unable to address some of these challenges. But I believe very soon we are rolling out the parenting guidelines so that we can help our parents. We know our responsibility. After knowing our responsibility, then we can help our children. I always tell parents, whenever I get an opportunity, our children do not want much. They want us to love them. They want us to listen to them. They want us to have time for them. If we do that, for sure you may have all the money. You provide all the money to the children, but still you'll find it is a different story. Have time for your children. If you really value your children, you will have time for your children. As government, of course, we have a lot of legislation that we have put in place to protect our children. The Constitution is very clear, Article 17 and 34, where it stipulates the duties of every citizen that we are there to protect the children and vulnerable persons, also to provide the rights of the children's rights to survival, development, protection, and participation. We have the Children's Act. I'm going to summarize. I can see she's trying to tell me time, so I'm trying to summarize. We have the Children's Act in place. We put in place the National Children's Authority, which is there to monitor the implementation of child rights programs and advise government on legal reforms and policy formulation. We have the National Child Policy 2020, which is and the implementation plan, which is being rolled. So far, we have reached in 73 districts, and we hope that we shall move on. We have the Uganda Child Helpline. Any child who gets any problem, please call this number, 116. Wherever you'll be in Uganda, there are people to help you. There are people to help you to address any issues of any child who is about to be abused or who has been abused, and we shall come in to support you. Of course, we have a national strategy to end the child marriage and teenage pregnancy. It's also there in place. And of course, we cannot forget that within the NRM manifesto and the presidential directives, it is very clear about the child well-being. As government, we have increased the recruitment of probation officers in the whole country and community development officers at lower local governments, and at least now we are at 83%, unlike in 2017 where we're at 38%. And these are people who are there to listen to the children, and anything that is not right about the children, they are always there to listen. My sister, just give me 2 minutes, I'm going to finish. A call to action. We must make internet safe for our children. Much as we are saying we need the access, but we also need to protect our children. Most of our children have also been abused through internet. So how safe are we with our children with this internet? We need to make them safe. We need to promote positive and responsible parenting. Education of children starts at home. It is a pity that now we feel that children are more safe in schools than being at home. We want to promote this so that children are even more safer at home than thinking that they are safe at school. And of course, the caregivers are the #1 teachers of our children. Parents and caregivers should equip themselves with the appropriate information to keep children safe at home and within the community. When we were growing up, we knew that a child is a child of the community. Now it is to whom it may concern. When I had a child here making a statement, she almost made me cry. When she said, someone is calling you, you come. A person who is supposed to be your father. Sincerely, you men, wherever you are our brothers, you are our fathers. Please, we ask you to take care of our children. Respect them. When we say you love them, we are not meaning the other love. No. Sincerely, when you see somebody who is supposed to be a father, calling somebody who is supposed to be his or her child, to go and to engage in very funny things, it's really a pity and it is shameful. To the fathers out there, please, we ask you to rally behind us so that we protect the girl child. Of course, even the boys, we shouldn't take it for granted that the boys are not abused. According to the statistics that we have, the boys who are below 18 years that have been sexually abused is at 58%. So we can also not take it for granted. The girls are at 68, the boys at 58, those that are below 18 years. So I beg you that we should carry on as children, respect all the children equally, and we take the mantle to make sure that we protect our children. I also request the media. Media should also support government to prevent and respond to violence against children through appropriate reporting of children issues through the print and electronic media. You know, children, they pick anything you say. You heard what one of the girls said here, that COVID was manufactured from where? Is it true? But they must have copied it from somewhere. Maybe somebody said it and then now the child picked. COVID was manufactured from there, but it is not true. So I ask the media, please, as you're reporting, remember that there are young children who are listening to you, and we should know how to report what. I would request that we strengthen and support our parents and caregivers and make families and communities strong, skilled, empowered, and motivated to provide adequate and holistic care for their children. We should continue to strengthen the system for any right for more than just a promise. Children should know that if I get a problem, I know the probation officer will give me an ear. Recently, I had a very, very funny case. A girl called me at midnight. I don't know where she got my phone from, my phone number, at midnight. And she told me, do you know, I have a problem. At midnight. I asked her, which problem? She narrated the story. It was a painful story. This is a girl. She was told to go and, the way they are saying they are looking for money, child labor. When she reached in this person's home, the person raped her. After raping her, she came, I think she kept silent for some time, then she told the mother. The mother, they moved to the probation officer. The probation officer failed to pay an ear to this child. They went to police. Police failed to pay an ear to this child. Because the person who was abusing this young girl is a civil servant with money, knowing I'll reach everywhere and do what? And I do the bribing. To an extent, that she went to the hospital, gave birth to a child who was normal, alive. After a few seconds, they came back and told her the child is dead. After a few seconds, the dead body disappeared. After making noise, by the time she came to call me, she wanted to know where the dead body is and how she can go to bury her child. So when I tried to follow up, that's how I got to know that she had gone through all the circles, because I asked her, why are you coming to report after giving birth? Then she told me, I went everywhere. Nobody was giving me an ear. That's why I had to look for you to help me. So I had to start the case right from zero. Now, I tell this police officer, take this child for testing to fill the other form at the hospital. While a doctor was trying to fill, another doctor comes rushing. No, it is me to take charge. This child is above 18 years. This is a P6 girl. So I said, I think I will not handle it from this district. Let me call headquarters. Please help me handle this case. They had to shift the file. And the girl is 15 years. Now, after they have known I have entered into the case, now they use different people. The rich people who have money. Please, you call the minister to get out of this. But I'm there to protect the children. How do you begin calling? In fact, I told them, you'll be the first people that I will arrest, because I'm there to protect the children of Uganda, the children of this continent. And as I speak now, I think the case is moving on. If this person does not disappear, but we are about to arrest him. But I'm requesting all the officers who are responsible for our children, please take charge. We are there to protect these children. These are the children who are going to be the leaders of tomorrow. So the moment you pain any child now, just know the effect is there tomorrow. I think I have overtalked. Let me take this opportunity to thank UNICEF once again for commemorating this day. And I will speak to some of the things that the children raised as I conclude. To the children, I want to assure you that members of parliament are your friends. Members of parliament are concerned about you. I did not like the way you were stating it, that they do not care. They go to drive vehicles and they pass these street children and they cannot do anything. One thing I want to inform you that members of parliament are mandated to do legislation to make these laws that are there to protect you. They are mandated to make a budget to make sure that even what we are putting in place, even enforcement is able to do their work ably. They are supposed to do the oversight work, to monitor all the ministers, all the ministries, all the misuse of any government funds. And of course, when I talk about budget, I recall I think in the 10th Parliament, they even passed funds. They passed funds, and they approved funds to have the street children resettled to their homes. Of course, COVID-19 has escalated the whole process, but they managed to settle around 500 children, and most of them were from Karamoja in a district called Napak. And that shows you that members of parliament are really concerned. But on the issue of the street children, it's not that we do not care. But one thing I have realized, if we do not address the real core causes of why these children come to the street, some of them are sent by their parents. Some of them are sent by their parents, you go to the street, there's a lot of money. So that if we do not address, that's why it all comes back to parenting. I don't know how a parent can begin sending a child to go to the street to ask for money. I believe even these children you're talking about in Koboko, who are selling themselves, you think the parents don't know? They must be knowing. Let's do our responsibility as parents. Finally, as I conclude, I'll still tell the children that just prepare yourselves. In January, we shall open our schools, hopefully requesting you to take those who are above 18 years to go for the vaccination so that we are able to open fully. And of course, continue following the SOPs so that we are able to open, not to go back to another wave. It is our duty as citizens to put into practice the recommendations of Ministry of Health, especially regarding COVID-19, the standard operating procedures. We need everyone aged 18 years and above vaccinated if we have to open our schools uninterrupted. Several guidelines and circulars are already in place to support all stakeholders to manage the cases of absenteeism amongst public service providers, prepare, and how to support the mental and physical health of learners, what my OG was talking about. We are preparing for that, and we, not only for the learners, but even for the teachers. We need to take them through that. I want to thank UNICEF for giving an opportunity to members of parliament to go and listen to the children in their constituencies. I am going to pass on this message. Thank you so much. And I want to thank you again for organizing this commemoration. And for all the children of Uganda, I wish you a happy World Children's Day for God and my country.
Thank you so much, Honorable. And just before you go, because the time is really fast spent, allow me to invite Dr. Munir back to the floor, and we'll give out our presents just before we get to have ourselves cut off on TV. Allow me to invite the winners in the different categories. First, Maurice Baliahe from the writing category, please come up quickly. From the videography category, Samalin Tutu and Ivit Namara, please come to this side and receive your gifts. Sophia Nasali from the photography contest, as well as from the illustration, David Menga. So I'll request all our winners to come this side, and one by one we will be moving to the fore and get our gifts. All our winners, Ivit, let's come this side. Let's come this side, Nasali and Menga to this side. And I'll start off from the writing category. Maurice Baliaye, please. You can go and get your gift from the Minister and Dr. Munir.
Congratulations. And to all the children, you're all winners. Thank you so much.
All right, he will.